and welcome to Caterpillar Crochet's Magic Ring Technique video. Well, we'll start with a few things to know for the absolute beginner. Now this is acrylic yarn, and that little DK there means double knitting, which depends on the thickness of the thread that you're using. Now all the patterns I make use this double knitting thickness. And this is my crochet hook. It's a 3.5mm crochet hook. They're quite easy to find in charity shops and things like that, but they're not very expensive if you want to buy one online. And this highly technical piece of equipment is my stitch marker. It's a bent paperclip. So here we go on the magic ring itself. Now, putting the tail into your left hand, loop the yarn over itself like this, and put your thumb on the join. And pull the yarn through this loop with your hook. And feeling the need to be a bit like an octopus with all these fingers, just tighten it up a little bit so that the loop is just round the hook. Then use the hook to pull through another loop. Now this is reasonably secure like this, but don't tug it too hard. Now we'll do the first stitch in the actual magic ring. So when a pattern asks for a specific number, this is the very first one. And when you finish this first stitch, pop the little stitch marker through it, just like this, and that'll show you the first stitch in your round. And don't worry, I'll show you how to do this stitch a few more times. It is quite helpful to hang on to your stitch marker just to help with the tension. And now I'll shut up so you can watch the stitches. Now you can see there are 6 stitches on here, which is the normal amount for starting a magic ring. But if the pattern says put 8 or 12 in, just keep going until you've got that number. Then pull this thread tight. Give the little stitch marker a wiggle just to loosen up that first stitch a little bit. And your magic ring is complete. And if you're creating a flat circle, the next line in the pattern is often to put 2 single crochets into each stitch, so I'll just show you that for this next round. Now this first one can be a little bit tight the first time, and I by no means claim to be an expert, so if you know better than this, you do what you normally do. This is just what I do and it works for me. And again, after you finish the first stitch, pop in your stitch marker. This way you can tell where the end of the round is. And I need to put the second stitch in the same place that the first one was, so they're both in the same hole. So I'll continue round, putting 2 single crochets in each stitch. And as you can see, we're back at the stitch marker, which means we're back at the beginning. So if you count up the stitches, you'll see that there are now 12, because we put 2 in each of the previous stitches. And this in the pattern would be the end of the second round. So we would just continue on, carrying on this sort of spiral, using the stitch marker to tell where we are. Now you'd normally carry on, so don't cut the thread. I'm just going to do another magic ring just to show you again. forget that first little stitch there is to hold the magic ring in place. It doesn't count towards the stitches you do in the actual magic ring itself. So now you should be familiar with the technique. Feel free to have a look at some of the other patterns available on Caterpillar Crochet. And if there's anything you'd like to see me make, just give me a shout and I'll see what I can do. And if you've enjoyed the video, please feel free to share it or to subscribe to the channel.